Welcome to the 2015-2016 NCAA instructional video. I am June Courteau, the National Coordinator of Women's Basketball Officiating. It is my pleasure to serve the game of basketball and work with coordinators, officials, and coaches to make our game the best it can be. The goal of this instructional and informative video is to develop a national style of officiating that will result in a consistent enforcement of the rules as written and quality game management from the first game of preseason to the last game played in the NCAA tournament. Our efforts to have a free-flowing game continues with the understanding and enforcement of Rule 10.1.4. The rule states, it is a foul when the defender contacts the ball handler dribbler anytime with two hands, placing the front or back of the hand on the ball handler dribbler and keeping it on, more than once with the same hand, or with alternating hands, or with an arm bar, a forearm away from the body. Here are plays that depict Rule 10.1.4.
The defender is allowed one measure-up touch on the ball handler dribbler. This is a legal play. "30 Black puts two hands on the ball handler dribbler. This is an automatic foul. This hand check foul, called by the center official, sends the message that we will enforce the rules as written throughout the entire game. Good call." Great depiction on the trail official calling the defensive foul for an illegal arm bar on the ball handler dribbler. This type of illegal action seems to be occurring more on drives to the basket. Let us remain consistent on calling this illegal contact.
Contact by the ball handler dribbler should not be confused with contact on the ball handler dribbler. Both the defense and the offense are responsible for not creating illegal contact. Illegal contact that is created by the ball handler dribbler must be consistently enforced. Additionally, illegal body contact that affects the rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness of the BHD also needs to be called. Contact that does not hinder the opponent from participating in normal defensive or offensive movement shall be considered incidental.
The highlighted defender establishes initial legal guarding position, 2 feet down, facing her opponent. The offensive player with the ball displaces the legal defender with her body and arm. The center official is in correct position to call the player control foul. The defensive player never established legal guarding position in the path of the dribbler and stepped toward her opponent, making illegal body contact affecting her RSBQ. This is a blocking foul. In this play, the highlighted defender steps toward her opponent, creating illegal body contact that affects the rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness of the dribbler. Good call by the center official, who maintains an open look on the play. Blue steps toward the dribbler and makes illegal body contact on the BHD, affecting rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness. This is an obvious blocking foul. The center has an open look at the play and makes the correct call.
Our game continues to have numerous block charge situations, especially on drives to the basket. The block charge play will always be a play of contention. Officials need to get the best angle possible to judge whether 1. The defender has established initial legal guarding position, 2. The defender moves legally to maintain her legal guarding position, 3. The offensive player creates illegal contact on the legal defender. I'm confident we can continue to improve our accuracy on this difficult play.
Defender establishes initial legal guarding position 2 feet down, facing the dribbler, and moves laterally to maintain her legal guarding position. The dribbler charges into and displaces the legal defender. This is a player control foul. In this play, the highlighted defender establishes legal guarding position before 11 red leaves the floor to shoot. After red is airborne, white moves into her path, creating illegal contact. The lead official is in a wide-angle position to referee the defender and keeps the offensive player in her view. She sees the whole play and correctly calls a blocking foul. The defender establishes legal guarding position before her opponent leaves the playing court to shoot. Player control foul. The highlighted player makes incidental contact on her defender, who then falls to the floor. Good no call on this legal contact. This is a legal play. The offensive player did not displace, hold, impede, just basically did not create illegal contact. Good job.
Our rule regarding the restricted area and the lower defensive box has not changed. The restricted area is in effect when the player with the ball is outside the LDB when she starts her move to the basket. Conversely, the restricted area is not in effect when the player with the ball is inside the LDB when she starts her move to the basket.
On this dribble drive, Green 45 makes her move to the basket outside the LDB, which means the restricted area is on. The secondary defender establishes legal guarding position outside the RA before the dribbler leaves the floor off her left foot. The lead official is on strong side and in wide position to visually pick up the secondary defender and correctly calls the player control foul. Blue 35 receives the ball and makes her move to the basket inside the LDB. The RA is off. This is a straight-up block charge play. The secondary defender does not establish legal guarding position before her opponent leaves the floor. This is a blocking foul, and the lead should have had the first whistle. This is the lead's responsibility, as he has the best look at the east-west movement of the secondary defender. In fast break situations, all defenders are initially secondary defenders. 22 Orange initially establishes legal guarding position outside the RA and moves obliquely to maintain her legal position. The lead is in a great position to referee the defense and the whole start, develop, and finish of this play, and correctly calls a player control foul.
It is time for us to take a fresh look at what limits freedom of movement. Players must be permitted to move freely without being held, pushed, rerouted, or impeded. Defenders who are guarding players without the ball are subject to different rules than when guarding a player with the ball. Understanding the time and distance principles when guarding a player moving without the ball, and also in screening situations, knowing if the screen is being set on a moving or a stationary player, is imperative for correct decisions on these plays.
The red defender uses her left arm to hold the cutter. This is a holding foul and is correctly called by the lead official. In this cutting situation, the highlighted offensive player cuts through the lane and is held by the defender's left arm and body bumped throughout the cut. The lead official referees this matchup in her primary coverage area and calls this illegal contact. This is the type of illegal contact that must be called if we are to have freedom of movement on players moving without the ball. 44 White attempts to set a screen on her opponent and was still moving when contact occurred. This is an illegal screen. Remember, the screener must be set when contact occurs. "20 Red attempts to set a screen on the moving opponent, that does not allow her to avoid contact by stopping or changing direction. This illegal screen is correctly called by the center official, who is positioned to see the whole play. In attempting to set a screen, the highlighted offensive player causes illegal contact throughout the screening process. She did not allow the moving player without the ball the time and distance to avoid contact, minimally 1 step but no more than 2 strides. This is not a legal screen and roll play, since the screen was never legally set. You can screen to roll, but not roll to screen. The trail official correctly calls an offensive foul. Great call. 11 White attempts to set a screen on blue 4. The screener extends her hips into the defender and displaces her into white 30. The lead official correctly calls the first foul on this play. Illegal screen. Offensive foul.
Post play is a point of emphasis again this year. We need to recommit our efforts on reducing excessive physicality in our game, and especially in the post. Illegal contact that is missed or not called will cause players to ramp up this illegal activity, leading to excessive physicality. But calling the first illegal contact will go a long way to achieving our goal to clean up the post and the game.
Here is an example of legal contact by the defender on the post player with her back to the basket before and after she receives the ball. Prior to receiving the ball, the defender has a forearm and a hand on her opponent. There is no displacement. This is legal contact. When 55 Black receives the ball, the defender places a forearm away from the body on the offensive post player. This is legal contact as well. Legal play. The post defender has 2 hands on the offensive post player with her back to the basket without the ball. When number 1 White receives the ball, the defender takes her right hand off and leaves her left hand on with a bend in the elbow. This contact is legal and there is no displacement. This is legal play and a good depiction of our new rule. On this entry pass into the post, the highlighted post defender uses her knee to displace the offensive post player. This is immediately and correctly called by the lead official. This is an obvious defensive foul for displacement. Good job. Players' freedom of movement must be allowed. The highlighted post defender first holds the post cutter and then uses her body to displace her. The lead correctly calls this illegal action in her primary area. At a deeper level, for our game to have freedom of movement, we need to put a whistle on the first foul. Remember, if we call the first illegal action the hold, then the potential for excessive physicality in the post will be deterred.
When officials are aware of offensive post players in the lane for more than 3 seconds and call the obvious violation, it is felt that this may help curtail fouls in the lane. The Rules Committee is not asking for numerous tight 3-second calls, but when an offensive player is in the lane for more than 3 seconds, it needs to be called. The Rules Committee is concerned about violations of the bench decorum rule by coaches, players, and bench personnel. Coaches are expected to remain in the coaching box. To do otherwise results in a distinct advantage, which is not within the spirit and intent of the rules. There is strong and continued support for officials to enforce rules against unsporting behavior by players, coaches, and bench personnel. Taunting, baiting, finger-pointing, trash-talking, and inappropriate gestures by players have increased over the past several seasons. Players are permitted to celebrate an individual or team accomplishment, but they are not permitted to direct that celebration at their opponent. Additionally, coaches and players are not permitted to disrespectfully or inappropriately address and/or gesture at an official after a call is made or not made on the court. Players' behavior, which in the judgment of the official is determined to be a taunt of an opponent or a disrespectful act toward an official, shall be penalized by assessing a technical foul. This instructional video is intended to be the beginning of the learning process for the 2015-2016 season. Let the games begin.